Welcome to another video on the topic of numbers in GCSE Mathematics 9-1 specification. The subject of the topic that we'll be discussing today and going through is BIDMAS. And we'll be going through what BIDMAS is and how we apply BIDMAS into solving problems. This topic does apply to OCR, Edexcel, and AQA. And it does apply to both the higher and foundation tiers. Going into what is BIDMAS. So before we discuss what BIDMAS is, we should remember one thing, in that there is always an order for everything. For example, when you're making a cup of coffee or tea, there is a certain way and you would do things and how you'd do them to make that cup of coffee or tea properly. For example, if you're making a cup of tea, you wouldn't pour the milk first and then put the tea bag in and start stirring and then pour the hot water last. You wouldn't do that. What you'd actually do is do it properly. You'd pour the hot water, pour the tea bag, give it a good stir, take the tea bag out and then pour a little bit of milk. And that is the proper way of doing it. So it's the same thing for maths. It's all about solving problems in an ordered and methodical way, and that's what BIDMAS is. So what is BIDMAS? BIDMAS is known as the order of operations. It is the order in which mathematical problems are solved. And as you can see below in the little table that, or in this image down below, what BIDMAS actually stands for. And a lot of you might know BIDMAS by a different name, slightly different name, as BODMAS. And what they really are is essentially the same thing. The only difference is the O and the I. The O in BODMAS stands for order, and the I stands for indices. But they essentially mean the same thing. So if you start from the top and the bottom, the B in BIDMAS stands for brackets, and it's basically the parentheses that you see in mathematical problems. The I stands for indices, and those are, for example, if you have, as shown here, 3 squared, the squared part is considered the indice. It's 3 to the power of 2. The power of 2 is the indice. Another example is 5 to the power of 4. The power of the 4, the power to 4, is the indice. It is the order that you use. The D stands for division. It's pretty self-explanatory. M stands for multiplication, and A stands for addition. S stands for subtraction. So if you were given a problem, you would look at the problem, you would identify what orders or what operations does this problem include. Does it have brackets? Does it have indices or division? Does it have any sort of multiplication, etc.? All the way down. Does it have any of these basic operations that we need to solve? And you'd deal with that whole problem in that order. Addition and subtraction usually don't make a difference in which order you do it. You could do subtraction first or addition first. It doesn't really matter. But essentially, you'd want to try and follow this system. It's more simple that way. So really, the best way we can explain this is through examples. So right now I have a problem right here. A 5 plus, and in brackets, 4 divided by 2, close brackets, squared times 3. So with this problem, we first need to identify what operations are there in this problem. And I've got the BIDMAS table, what they stand for, and the order of how we solve things on the right. Now first, let's identify the operations involved. So I've just rewritten the whole example, but I've color-coded it and labeled what operation is which. If we look at it, we have addition, we have brackets, we have division, we have indices or an order, and we have multiplication. We don't have subtraction, which is fine. It's one of the last things to deal with anyway. But this is what we essentially have, and this is what we need to deal with. And the first thing in the problem from left to right we see is the plus in red, the addition. But that does not mean we have to deal with the addition first. Okay, just because it's farthest to the left. If we follow BIDMAS, which is the actual order of operations in which we solve mathematical problems, we know that it starts with B, which is brackets. So the first thing that we should be doing, or solving, or simplifying, is whatever is inside the brackets. So I've written it down now as 5 plus, and in brackets 4 divided by 2, close bracket, squared, times 3. So first we solve what's in the blue, what's in blue. Now that we've solved what's in blue, we have left 5 plus 2 squared times 3, because 4 divided by 2 is 2. So what's left of inside that bracket is 2 squared, really, or is 2 inside the brackets. And then we have the indices of squared outside. So what was inside that bracket is actually 2. So now we look at what's the next thing that we have left. And the next thing that we have is indices. After brackets, we have indices or order. And we have indices right here. We have the 2 squared highlighted in green. So we've got to solve that. And we know 5 plus 2 squared times 3. That is what we have left. So 2 squared is equivalent to 4. So now what we have is 5 plus 4 times 3. As you can see, the 2 squared becomes 4. So we've now dealt with brackets, we've dealt with the indices, and now what's the next thing that we have? Well, it says division. And the next thing that we have is division. But we don't have division left. We've already solved the division part already from when we were dealing with the brackets. So now we move on to the next part. Do we have multiplication? And we're evident we do. It's highlighted in yellow. We have 4 times 3. That part we need to deal with first. So we have 5 plus 4 times 3. And 4 times 3 is 12. 5 plus 12. And the only operation that is left anyways is addition. And that is the next thing, as we can see, after multiplication. So we have addition to deal with. And 5 plus 12 is simply just 17. So this all simplifies to, this little problem we have here at the top is essentially 17. But if we were to do it any other way, I guarantee you, we probably wouldn't have been able to get the value of 17, the correct value of 17. What we would have got is something very different. And you could try it yourself and see if you could go through this problem, but do it from left to right, or do things in a slightly different order to your own order, in whichever way you want. And you'll see that the value you get in the end is very different. And it's not the correct way because you did not follow the order of operations. You did not follow BIDMAS. So the next part we're going to do another example. And this time is a slightly more complicated example, but we'll be able to go through this a lot more easily. And let's see if we'll manage to go through this. This time we don't have the reminder of what BIDMAS is, but by now you should be able to remember. I've written down BIDMAS here, so I'll be doing everything in the color code of which it says. So we have B for brackets. In this problem, do we have any brackets? Yes, we do. We have 2 sets of brackets, actually, and we have them here and here. So what we want to do is solve these brackets first. Whatever's inside the brackets, we want to simplify. So let's look at the brackets first. We have 2 sets of brackets, as I've mentioned, and we're going to have to go through each bracket. Let's focus on the left side bracket first. 6 squared minus 6 times 2, close bracket. Within this bracket, we also have multiple different operations. As you can see, we've got indices in the 6 squared, we've got subtraction in the 6 squared minus 6, and we have multiplication in the 6 times 2. So how do we solve what's inside this bracket? Yes, we're following BIDMAS in terms of we need to solve what's inside the brackets first, but what's inside the brackets also has another set of operations. So how do we solve this? Well, we just follow BIDMAS again, but just within the brackets. It's almost like following BIDMAS within BIDMAS. So the first thing, other than brackets, as we don't have any more brackets in here other than the obvious one that we're dealing with, what we do have is indices in green. I for indices. So the 6 squared really is the indice that we should be dealing with. So let's simplify that first to 36. And now we have 36 minus 6 times 2. And now we only have 2 operations left. We have subtraction in the 36 minus 6, and we have multiplication in the 6 times 2. So what's next? Well, after indices in which we just dealt with, we have division, but we don't have any division here. What about multiplication? Do we have Yes, we do. We have multiplication in the 6 times 2. So that's the next thing that we'll be dealing with. We'll leave the 36 alone for now. And then we do 6 times 2, which is 12. So what do we have next? Subtraction. The only thing left is 36 minus 12, which gives us a value of 24. So we have 24. So this is all coming from the inside of this bracket in which we were dealing with. Now that we've dealt with one bracket and we've got left that with 24, there is another bracket that we need to solve, and that's this one over here. The 4 divided by 2 times 4. So let's try that out, shall we? We have in brackets 4 divided by 2 times 4. Solving this bracket right here. And then we go through the order of operations again. Do we have any more brackets inside? No. Do we have indices? No. Do we have division? Yes, we have division. So that's the first thing we're going to solve first. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now we times it by 4. What do we have now? The only thing left is 2 times 4. So that will have to be 8. So now we've solved both the brackets. Now if we rewrite this question, what do we have? We have 24 divided by 8 minus 7. That's our next step. We've done that now. We've finished brackets. So after brackets, what's next that is left? Indices, which we don't have any indices. Division is the next thing we have. The 24 divided by 8 is the next thing that we need to solve. So we now need to solve 24 divided by 8, which is actually 3. And we're left with 3 minus 7. So the next thing that we need to do is simple. We just finish off the last operation. There's only one operation, that's the operation we need to deal with, and that is subtraction. So it's simple as this. We are now left with 3 minus 7. And that would give us the value of -4. And that is our answer. This problem that we've just completed and solved ends up being -4. I guarantee you can do this in any other way. You could do it in any other form or way, and it will not give you -4. It will give you another answer. But that won't be the correct answer, because whatever other order you've done, it is not the order of BIDMAS. It's not in the correct way. If you found this video useful, do give it a like and subscribe for more videos and any more tutorials that I will be able to put out. And I have put out a lot more videos too. I will be putting out a lot more videos under the topic of numbers, and I will be moving on to other topics such as algebra and statistics once they are released. And if you do have any questions, do comment down below, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.